All right. Okay, let's give it a few minutes. I know live stream takes a little bit to start pinging people. My wife is here with me again. She's in the background. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I am using, yeah, okay, cool. I'm using my new mics that I just bought. The Sennheiser Profile Wireless in this little case. That's what this is here. Still testing it out and stuff, but yeah, I'm using it for this setup. So it should sound pretty good. My voice is a little tired. Apologies for that. Um, and I'm using Riverside to stream this, so I'm not seeing like the full-on YouTube side of things. Just want to check that real quick. Of course, I have a ad pop up on my end. So we got people from New York City. What's up? What camera are we using for the live? This is the Fujifilm XS20 with the Viltrox 13 mil. So you see a lot of my, a lot of the office, no fancy lights, something like that. We might try to do something a little bit more spruced up this year because my wife and I want to do a podcast, and this most likely will be the room to do that. But let's get this started. I'm going to cap myself to an hour and 30 for this live stream. It could go pretty quick. But again, what's up, everybody? Wow, what a year. What a 2025 year for my family, for my wife and I, for work. I'm sure it's been a year for you all over who do watch and follow my content. I very am grateful. This has been a year of growth, surpassed 50,000 subs. Never thought, I mean, I never had really sub goals. My goals for any and all content I've made was just to make content that I want to see out online, and I appreciate you all following the journey with that. It's been really cool to see. This channel has grown from that standpoint, from the audiences, from the views, kind of, not so much, but then also just monetary wise from the way I've been able to make money through this channel. It's been a sight to see. Not an overnight success for sure. We're going to get into a little bit of that today or tonight. We're going to talk about some money, some finance stuff. But yeah, I had put out a poll on a few of my platforms here on YouTube, Instagram, and I think Threads. But some of you guys had questions that I'm going to try to tackle in this live. And the first question that I already started trying to do a little wrap up, but the first question was, what are 3 impactful things throughout 2025? And so I just want to just let that be like the umbrella. I'm going to answer this and let that be the umbrella for the rest of the stuff we're going to get into tonight. So the first real impactful thing was and is and will always be my faith. This journey has been a long one from being a photographer to working in the school systems for communications, going to a tech company, and then going completely freelance and doing the directing stuff with my friends. Now it's Caleb Taylor. It was Saint 16 and everything we want to do this year. The backbone of all of that has been trusting the Lord in all of it, honestly. My wife and I are taking bigger strides to really lock in and hone in on what we believe in. From studying, she does a lot more studying than I do, but studying, reading the Word together, being involved with our church, being involved with our just community of believers, and that has impacted everything we do, from our health, from our finances, from the work that we do. So that's been just a really impactful journey, a really impactful, intentional decision to make sure faith is the cornerstone of everything that we do as a family, as we do for work. And that bleeds into the next impactful thing has been the balance of that, finding that balance. This year took a toll on me with my sleep mainly, and just exercise and being fit, because as most of you all know, we put out a video early this year, February, felt like last year, but February of this year, we put out a video about our debt situation. And it was really, it's all because of us. Our debt is our debt, right? And we were talking about how we got there and the game plan that we have for it. at that time, we had no idea what this year was going to bring. We had no idea the finances that the Lord has blessed us with to help pay that debt down. And so, but the sacrifice of getting all the work that we did this year, that I did this year, was a little bit of my just the other side of things, the rest, the burnout. I had burnout really early this year, about October of this year. I really started to drag my feet with a lot of different things we were doing. I said yes to a lot of things, not in fear, but the opportunities came my way. I was like, oh, okay, this can help us get to here. This can help us get to that. So that was a big learning lesson on how to balance that. And, you know, my kids, I try not to let work get in between my kids and stuff, obviously. So we, the big thing for us, we take Saturday, we observe Saturday rest, Sabbath rest. And that was like, if I didn't have that, our marriage would be tanking, everything else would be tanking. I couldn't have any real opportunities to have rest and to honor God and things like that. So that's been another important factor, impact this year. And then, like I kind of just mentioned, when to say yes versus when to say no. As this year had gone on, I said yes to a lot of things early on because I had the time. Obviously, I was still doing commercial work, but this channel, really wanted this channel to start making money. So I said yes to a lot of opportunities, locked in a few year to 2 year long sponsorships, and I did a lot of one-off stuff. And this was the first year that I consistently put out at least 3 videos a month, which is insane. So eventually I added on an editor to help, and we're still getting our bearings of what that looks like. And so going into 2026, learning the things to say yes to, learning the things to say no to, because I know what this sacrifice and what it takes for that. So I just want to give sort of that kind of recap. I thought it was a good question to kind of reflect and look back on. So I should have brought water up here because my voice is getting kind of hoarse. Oh, thank you, dear. I just want to grab some water right now for me. But I'm gonna keep rocking here. Wow, there's a whole ad playing right there. That's crazy. So let's talk about YouTube stuff, because that was actually one of the questions a lot of people had asked. If you do follow me on Threads, I should be posting this more on YouTube as well, but I tend to post out the financial track that we're on the back end, from making money on ads, ad revenue here on YouTube, for making affiliate money, sponsor money. I'm pretty open about a lot of that, as much as the companies I'm involved with allow me to. But anything that comes into me, I tend to. Goodness grief! Wow, that is so rude. My bad. Thank you. One second. Like I said, very, very open about those finances, and so I tend to share the hard numbers online. And you know, I know that's very taboo in a lot of ways. People don't tend to show what they make in fear of, actually, I guess, judgment or anything like that. But with us, you know, we've taken upon ourselves to understand that making money doesn't have to be taboo, and if it can help someone to show our how we navigate things, where we put our money here and there, we don't mind sharing that. And that was just a conscious decision my wife and I had. So just top of fun is just throw some numbers from this channel alone, what I made from this channel this year in 2025. I have my notes right here. So again, the goal was to make more revenue this year. So I kind of understood my value, and I've had different companies pay one-off things. So I was really kind of trying to gun-ho and trying to lock in yearly, monthly revenue so I can project. And I just give some more context. I am a full-time director in DP, and I'm part of a director's squad called 716. And so we have an agency who represents us, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that too. But we have an agency that represents us, and those jobs come far and few between. We average this year we've averaged probably I did at least, I think, 5 or 6 commercial jobs this year, and they pay very well, or you know, high, more than 10 grand, or depending how many days you're on set. So, but those jobs, they pay 30 days, sometimes 60 days after the job is closed. So I couldn't rely on that. So I really needed YouTube to be that deciding factor to float us month to month, to pay down debt, to pay our expenses. We tighten up our budget, all those things. And so I had to get it in a rhythm where I can count on money coming in. So this is why I was really trying to gun for a more consistent revenue from sponsorships that will pay monthly. And so I had three main sponsorships this year. Four: Moment Audio, MPB, Moment Audio. I think those, I'm missing one. Moment Audio. I have it in my thing. I'll look real quick. Let me see. I'm missing one. I think I'm missing one. Moment Audio. No, actually, no. Okay. Yeah, just those three. Sorry. Those three were just the three main recurring funds per month. And that averaged roughly $6,800 a month, close to $7,000 a month.
Oh, wasn't it Fujifilm, one of them, for your reels?
Yeah, it was starting from last year into this year. But I wouldn't count that month to month because my wife asked me, Fujifilm, what about Fujifilm? Fujifilm did pay, we did have a contract for a year and they pay about $500 per month, but we eventually moved that to like every 3 months they will pay out a chunk. So I don't count that as the 15 as monthly revenue. A monthly revenue will be each month I expected a check based on the videos I made. So anyway, wow, that was a turn of events. So in terms of ad revenue, and I posted this out, let me actually share. Oh, Carlo's in here. What's up, bro? Let me share. Where is my screen here? Let's go to window. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. I was prepared, but that's what I closed out. I was like, what did I close out earlier? Here we go. So, I think you guys can see this screen here. Sweet. All right, so this is what, in terms of ad revenue, and I want to show this because YouTube's done a lot of changing over the past years of how ad revenue is being spread out to creators. Of course, they are going to give the most money to those who have the higher RPMs and more views coming in. So my channel is extremely niche. It's like a filmmaking channel, but within that I have very sub niches because Fujifilm is not very talked about as much as other camera brands like Sony, Canon, things like that. So in 2024, I was just doing an A/B test. 2024, I made $2,937 for that year for ad revenue. And that's about $230-ish, $240-ish a month. And I treat that like bonuses so that I can kind of move around and pay little things or buy a little gear here and there if I needed to, or just save it, which I didn't do this year. I didn't save this money. I used actually this money to pay my editor once I brought him on per video. It's not a lot, but it's what I can do. 2025, that number went down drastically, as you kind of see here. I lost about, roughly just under $280 this year. And which is interesting, I actually had more videos that I put out because a combination with shorts. I had 29 shorts, 33 main videos, and this is the third live stream. So a total of about 65 videos this year that I made. Previously, I only did long form videos, and I did 36 long videos in 2024, and it made like almost $3,000. So this is why I don't say, I tell those who ask me, can you make money or what's it like making money? Ad revenue is never going to be the goal to make money unless you're doing high volume content. So speaking for a niche channel like myself, this is not something that I would bank on or try to live off of, obviously. And that, as you can see here, I had the numbers for 2024, 36 videos, and then 33 and stuff like that. So Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But what's but so that's why trying to get a consistent sponsor deal was very important. And how do you do that? So for me personally, this is like 8 to 10 years in the making. Everything I learned from Moment and dealing with brands, I've had connections that way, and just being on the platform for a long time and being a voice. That's what happens when you niche down a bit more, because you can become a voice of authority in that particular space. And so brands tend to look at that over time, and then as you're building good content, as you're getting the traction within that community, then brands will start to reach out. Now, of course, you might get those who are on YouTube. You might get those one-off brands like, hey, we have $1,000 for this. Hey, you have, and that's what I used to take those deals. I used to take those one-off, and then now I start to build relationships with brands like Wooden Camera, Small HD, Teradek, DJI, Fujifilm. Like over those years, I started building those relationships, and once they had, sometimes it was a cold email like, hey, I would love to do this for long term. Here's what I'm thinking what my price is for per month. Some brands do a more archaic way to pay creators, because they look at certain metrics like views per minute, or things like that on the back end. I try to tell brands to say, my audience, they're already knowledgeable a lot of stuff. They're a slightly older audience, between 28 to 40 years old. And so these people are either well established or on their way to be well established. So I'm not trying to throw out like, this is the next best thing. That I'm very catered to who I'm talking to. And so those are the type of brands I try to put in front of you all. And it's that game, it's that balancing act, and as you go into that. So all that being said, with the brands that I try to find, brands that I actually like to work with, or I have a relationship with. MPB was a huge brand this year. They paid the most money per month. Sadly, they're going away, but hopefully I'm praying that something else will come again. But they were a brand that fitted nicely, because I do strongly believe in buying used gear. I mean, I just bought, this guy here, the new, well, not new, new to me. This is the Olympus, I can't say it, Zico? Wow. 16 mil fisheye, right? Bought this off of eBay, but not MPB, but off of eBay. And so I'm a strong believer. So like brands like that tend to fit this channel, so I can best serve you all and still make money off of this. So in total, and this is me rambling, I'm still getting used to doing live streams, but in total, for the affiliate links, I need to talk about affiliate links and sponsorships, I made, you guys can kind of see here, where it is. So for sponsor deals, I brought in $53,707 for this year. And as you can kind of see, and those who might be asking, I use Found Banking as my bank for my business. And this is one of the report sheets that it gives me, which is really nice, simple. I had to finish doing some more bookkeeping, but this is really nice visual for me to kind of see where my funds are going, how I can organize it, this, that, and the other, taxes and all that stuff. But 53,000 came from sponsor deals. I'm so burpy. I should never ate that ice cream when I started this. I had ice cream before this, so that's what's happening right now. And yeah, and then on top of that, for affiliate links, affiliate income, I made roughly about 5,000. And this is like legacy affiliate links. I've had affiliate links for the last, 6 years or so. So I've had Amazon links, I've had CRD bag links. Any company I tend to pair up or do something with, they'll give me an affiliate link that I can use. And I just tend to leave that live on all my videos. And those are just like a passive way for clicks to come through. Sometimes I'll push it, things like that. But YouTube is nice in that sense, where things just live for a long time. It can be an old video and you still get clicks on it. So pairing that with ad revenue plus affiliate links, you can really make some decent side income in the background, because this is just me without even pushing. This year I rarely did a lot of push for affiliate links, so this year I made $5,000 off of that, just from just clicks, or I just mentioned something as in a video and just make sure to have that link in the description. But of course your video has to circulate for that to actually be a thing. And this is also across platforms, so Instagram, mainly Instagram and YouTube. That's where I kind of cross-platform for those affiliate links. I don't think there's any questions, right? Is there questions? No? Okay, cool. It's one of those chill. It's the middle of the holidays, so this live stream might be really chill. I see only 29 people, but that's cool. Hope you guys are good. Let me go back to my notes real quick so I can stay on task. Let's see. Yeah, and one thing, I don't know who's on the stream exactly, but I just do want to say this too. Like the money that I made this year, this was 10 years in the making. Like I've been trying to hint at, this took a lot of effort, understanding where things come, how to understand this platform and how to utilize relationships and leverage relationships, and just making good content that you like to see. That's why I make content. I make content to put out there because I want to see certain things, especially if I don't find it myself. So I definitely played the long game in all of this. And you can totally play the fast, quick, Mr. Beast type style or gamify the things. You could totally do that. YouTube is so big, it can do that. But I don't have the time for that, nor I don't have the interest for that. So I'm happy to see the way that I put forth the level of effort that I put forth is returning its dividends now. And so it's very much, sorry, there was one question. It's like, if I were to start, or how do you start a channel like this in this niche? And personally, it's hard for me to answer that because I'm very much, there's two ways to do this, honestly, because you can go the route that's the most popular with the most, clickbaity thing, or the cameras that are going to get the most talked about or most traction. You can totally go that route, or you can go the route that I went, which was niche within a niche. And so my channel, before this channel, I had Joshua Martin Studios. I started with the GH5 and then Black Magic. So I kept those two as my kind of cornerstones for that channel, and I funneled everything from there. And then it went down to Black Magic and then the Marvel. So super niche, unexpected cameras that I talked about, which helped build, personally, I think, a more reputable identity online, because I was getting more direct, and I want to build relationships. It's hard to build relationships when you have a lot of people to talk about a lot of things. You're so spread out. So having a niche within a niche allowed me to be more one-on-one with a lot of people, to answer questions, especially on Instagram. I try to do my best to answer all the DMs. It's kind of a little crazy this year, but then I kept going that way. And same thing with Fujifilm. And I kept going down to Fujifilm, and it was a camera I wanted. I bought that camera. And so I was able to put out as much content. I said, this is the year I want to just specifically be Fujifilm. And that's all I did. And I've made like almost 60 videos of Fujifilm videos. And then one of the biggest successes for the channel, I was able to be involved with the Fujifilm Eternal launch. And that was huge for me. So it's like, for me, it's a long game, and I don't mind the long game. I have a family, so there's other responsibilities that I have. I have other jobs outside of this, but it's possible. You just have to really focus in and enjoy what you're making, and then also find what's kind of like the gap that's not there in the space. There's a lot of filmmaking channels, but sometimes they all kind of bleed over and say the same thing. So look for those gaps that people aren't talking about, and take it from there, to be honest. Okay, I will stop to answer one question, and then we have a little sponsor thing, which I've never done before. Do you ever get DP Josh because people have seen your YouTube? Yes. In a sense of, not in the traditional way. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. I'll give you a little preview because we're going to talk about this a little later. So like I said, I'm represented by our new agency called Nobodies. Previously, we were with Rakish, and then now we're with Nobodies. It's a new startup agency, but highly skilled producers who've been with us for the last 3-4 years now. And so, 2016, we are the directors. We are the social media commercial directors, however you want to put that. We are the directors that tend to do the work that high-end directors kind of scoff down. And it's kind of sad to say that, because now there's the shift with agencies and brands who are putting millions of dollars into social media campaigns. And so that's where we come in. So every time, we just actually had a pitch today for another brand, but every time we have a pitch or we're getting boards from agencies, they're centered around this sort of idea of how can we make something feel premium but still relate to online content. And so having a YouTube channel, having an Instagram, me being a creator, we can speak to doing that type of work and understanding the type of talent that we're going to be working with. Typically is non-talent, so non-actors and stuff like that. That gives us leverage compared to other directors who do the bigger stuff. I don't say bigger stuff because all this is big now. The money is money. Money is money now. But directors who tend to not want to work with non-talents and stuff like that, we know how to do that because we're creators ourselves and we have channels, but also we know that language. We're in this routine of creating content on a daily. So yes, my channel, my Instagram, my YouTube channel, Taylor's YouTube channel, our podcast prior, all of that actually helps us get jobs, land jobs, because agencies and producers are more confident in us because we know how to deliver what they want and how to get the best out of non-talents. So there's more to that, but yes. Real quick though, this is the first ever. I do want to, since we were talking about sponsors, I do want to give a shout out and a little sponsor moment to my sponsor channel, Audio. You guys have seen me work with Audio this past year, and they've been really great to work with. And they've allowed me to be flexible of how I want to talk about the platform, because I said this in Carlos' live podcast we did together, and I don't know if he's still here, but for whatever reason, filmmaking channels, music and filmmaking channels goes hand in hand. And so I've done work with Music Bed, but I've gone back to Audio because I like how direct and just open they are and how we operate together. And so this is unscripted as well. This is me just giving a pure shout out, and but it is sponsored, so it's kind of a mix of both. Anyway, there's some things I just want to shout out to because Audio has been helpful for this channel, not for the paying, but also just creating content. Outside of all the platforms that's out there right now, like MusicBed and Artlist and things like that, Audio has been quietly getting better each month. I see all the updates that are coming. I see the features that are coming. The quality of music has been really good. The two main features that I use for Audio has been Link Match AI and stems. Link Match AI I talk about often because a lot of times there's a song that I like that I hear on YouTube or I hear on my Apple Music and things like that. And unfortunately, I can't use that because of copyright issues and stuff. But with Link Match and their libraries and Audio's library getting bigger, I can just take that link and paste it in there and you'll find similar songs. I did this with the last couple of short reels that I did with the Eternal 55. And so that song, Singing in the Rain, it was a spin-off because I heard a song similar to it. It wasn't Singing in the Rain, but similar to it. And I popped that in there and it gave me that. And I love the texture from that. So that's been very useful. Just how I create. I don't use Audio for higher pay, for commercial gigs, because 9 times out of 10, the agency or the client already has a music provider or service that they're using that we had to adhere to. So, but in terms of being an investment for Audio, since I am a creator, this has been a great investment. And the fact that they do sponsor this channel is even more of a benefit. So this is nothing crazy. I meant to do this one thing too real quick. As I do this call to action. Yeah, Riverside's pretty cool. I'm sure you guys can see that. Anyway, I would just encourage you, if you are looking for a music platform, just go to Audio's website and just give it a listen. Just kind of explore the music options that they have. That's what I do often, and I have a long list of favorites that I want to use in different videos that are coming up for 2026. So if you do decide to make an account, just make sure to use my code Cindy70. You get 70% off your first year, which is about $59. And then from there, you can just run with all the features that they have available for it. So go check it out. Link is in the description. Link is on the screen. And again, Audio, thanks again for being a great brand to work with this past year. And I hope we can do more moving forward. Cool. I saw some questions come in. Would you like to say them, or? Can
you hear me if I say it?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I mean, I responded to this one saying, wish you would talk more about Fujifilm in 2026, XH2S specifically, but I responded saying, I'm sure there'll be more Fujifilm content coming anyways.
Oh. Okay. Is there another question?
It says, do you ever get DP jobs because people see you on YouTube?
Yeah, I answered that one.
Okay. Someone says, I'm interested to hear more about adapting vintage lenses and pulling focus with those lenses having less even markers.
Okay, I'll come back to those technical stuff.
Did you try the Kipon 0.8 time with the Mamiyas on the Eterna?
Yes, but I don't have a lot of footage with it. I only have to turn it for 3 weeks, but it seemed way shorter than 3 weeks. So I didn't really get a lot of footage with the adapter on it, but it works.
Someone says, to buy XH2S, is it late for 4-year camera when Nikon ZR is here?
All depends what you need. If you want full frame, red raw, and a $2,000 body, go ahead and get it. Honestly, this cameras today, it's funny because this is another question, but cameras today, in my opinion, sort of plateaued in the sense of they're all pretty good. So it's like whatever your budget can afford and whatever you like, that what matters to me in terms of buying a camera. Then after that, go make the stuff that you want to make, because at the end of the day, it's the story that you want to create with it. You can use any camera. Like we shot a documentary on handy cams. Like it doesn't matter about the camera as long as you have a compelling story to say or something to say with that camera. You can have red raw, you can have just ProRes. So it doesn't really matter if you can't tell something. So sorry, that felt a little ranty, but that's what I think where we're at. Same thing with the Eterna. A lot of people ask me, is the Eterna worth it? I don't know. I don't know what your current situation is. For me personally, it's worth it because that's the system I'm already in with the GFX 102. And it's a production camera, so I'm going to be using a camera like that. I don't have the camera. They didn't give me the camera. It was on loan. I saw Cam Mackey. He's in here. He has the camera right now.
He says, Cam says Joshua sounding jazzy today.
Yeah, sorry.
And Tyrus Tucker said, what up?
What's up, bro?
Heard from Keaton Nye says, just tuning in on the Sennheiser. Have you tested it? If it has plug-in power like for the Deity Lav Pro?
I'm not that tech savvy with lavs and stuff like that, but plug-in power meaning like from the receiver and stuff. Like that's what you're hearing right now too. Like this is the lav mic. I'm plugging it into my computer, the receiver, and then I have the transmitter on. I don't know. I don't think so. This was made for more consumer anyway. There are some like pro features like the locking lav port and stuff like that, but I don't think it's like anything what Deity is offering for their lavs. I need to look more into it, but sorry.
Chandler Goodrich says, how did you figure out your niche?
How did I figure out? That's a good question. How did I figure out my niche? Like I already kind of mentioned it. As I looked at the landscape of filmmaking content out there already, as a viewer, I felt like everything was pretty much the same. Everything felt the same, kind of the same language, same type of style of videos. A lot of us early on were heavily influenced by Peter McKinnon, all that stuff, rig builds, like all of it was pretty much the same. So I looked for the gaps of what people weren't talking about and the things that I was interested in. And then eventually, the more you do that, the more you'll start to see, oh, this is a niche that can be eventually useful and seen by others. So, and it's just understanding that it's the long game. It's not going to be immediate reward. Speaking of Keaton's done a great job from his content that he's been putting out. Cam as well. Cam is, an icon on the internet. But Keaton, especially, like he's been really pushing out just the production side of things and how things really are. So I always appreciate his content. So shout out to Keaton and the other creators that are actually in the chat too. But that's how I found my niche basically. Essentially, I just looked at the landscape, what was happening, and asked myself, what do I want to create? And it's just trial and error. It's practicing, learning the platform. I love YouTube because I love the data behind it. I love just learning the technical sides of things, improving things, making small tweaks to scripts. So as you get that muscle memory going, it's going to become much more clear. It's going to become much more easier to see when you need to pivot, when you need to change content or stay the same course and then do what you're doing. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. I'm going to switch up gears to talk about my career as a DP, and I kind of mentioned a lot of it already, and how this works. I don't get a lot of work directly to me. We mainly get all of our work from our agency. But there's been there's been 4 jobs this year that's been directed to me as a DP slash director. My biggest client has been Fujifilm, and I'm still in the middle of editing it, which has been a sad thing to say, but it's coming. Those who are Fujifilm are probably watching this. Thank you for your patience. But we shot 2 documentaries this year. Did the Fujifilm Eterna content as well. And then I had some like small local stuff that I did. But a lot of times I try to do everything through the agency because it's a different process. You know, it's a little bit easy, not easier. It's a different process. I like wearing just the director's hat or the DP hat rather than wearing all the multiple hats as a filmmaker does, as we all tend to do when we need to. But one question somebody has asked: do you work as a DP freelancer or a production business owner? So in this case, it's kind of like both. I started a new company called the Film Department, which is a rental house here, and I'll get into a little bit of that as well. The second part of that question is, do we need to separate these? Now, my interpretation of this, see, I'm actually, this is a good question because I'm in a crossroad because I have a personal brand that I advertise myself as a freelance DP filmmaker, but I'm also attached to a director's quad. So I'm in that, what's that word? Limbo kind of, depending how I brand myself. But I am working on my personal brand, which is Cine Dailies, and I'm a DP and stuff like that, as well as being a business owner and being a director. So I have 3 buckets I need to kind of still find this synergy, which has been working. Productions tend to rent from me when we do stuff, which is kind of great. So I've made money off of the rentals that way. And I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, it's kind of a weird spot that I'm in, and I'm working on more clarity going into the next year because it was pretty new. It kind of popped up this year, and I've been trying to navigate through it. The second question to that, well, I want to say a second question. Pain ideas. How to get more pain ideas? Man, I thought I spent more time on this section. I guess I didn't. But I said a lot of the stuff early on about me working as a DP. And how that works, I guess just a little bit of information how that works for Site 16, because that's where my main DP role comes through, is when we get a board from agency and they talk about the client and stuff like that, we pitch and we do the treatment and all that stuff. When we win, we kind of go into our own disciplines. So we treat everything as 4 directors. If it's 2 and 2 or all 4, we treat it as all directors. We oversee everything. But then when it comes to nitty gritty, if we don't hire a DP, and I'm not just a director with like one other person, I'll be the DP for that. And then I have full control of what I need to for that camera department and this, that, and the other. Which has been really great. Home Depot has been a client for us. eBay this year, M&M, missing somebody, Fujifilm, but yeah, that's how we kind of operate that way. So in terms of, and I know this has been a big question, I know a lot of people have been trying to figure out, is how do you get higher paying gigs? And it's hard for me to speak to the direct way because there's two routes that come to me roughly. I don't go on my personal side. I don't go looking for jobs. I've been blessed that certain jobs have just come to me because they see my content online. And going back to that question earlier, so that's how I kind of leverage that. I don't go do cold emails or cold this, that, and the other. This is the year that I haven't needed to do that, which has been great to say. On the flip side, having an agency that represents you brings in higher paying jobs. So those bring in the 250, 500K, 1.5 million jobs, right? That's what helps get those jobs. Now, how do you get that? That's another video, and that's another video to come because I want to bring my producer on to kind of talk through some things because I don't want to misspeak. But from my experience as being part of the directing crew and how we had to kind of sort of navigate through finding a new agency, when you have a body of work that's been really solid, even if it's spec work too, you start to craft your taste, you start to craft your voice. And so when you go shopping around different agencies, it's kind of this two-way street. You're kind of interviewing them to see how they will kind of sell you and shop you, and does your work fit in their flow? And they're doing the same thing. If they're interested in you, are you going to be someone to bring in high-ticket brands, or Does your taste fit their taste of who they're representing already on their roster? So it's a lot of bit of dancing here. It's very much the work, but how you tend to deliver your vision is more important, because all the types of jobs tend to change, and there's going to be very variety of different jobs. So it's not a clear direct line. Again, I've played the long game, so it's a lot of just years of experience. You can go hit a home run and try to just go do a cold pitch. Like this coming year, we're going to pitch a few brands that I've already had ideas to do a project for. So we're going to kind of develop that. And once I get that off the ground and stuff, and that's already, if it failed or not, I'll probably share with you all how that goes. But I'm still learning all of this. And so it's very much a dance when it comes to the high paint stuff. So I know that might not be helpful, but that's the work that I'm in and that I can actually speak to, because I don't do the daily grind as most filmmakers do today, trying to find local work and then commercial work and this and that and the other. I have opinions, but I don't know if it'll be actually worth it. So maybe something I could dive in a little bit later this year in 2026. Okay.
Someone asked, where and how can someone enter the circle of filmmaking and learn the basics of the industry?
I would, if I was to do that, if I was me asking that question, I would try to find an agency and a producer. Producers are going to have, a really good producer is going to have majority of the knowledge of what you're looking for, because they have their hands in everything. The directors that they're working with, the DP that they find, the agency and client that they talk to, like that's going to be the most value. Obviously, if you get in contact with a director, that offer them coffee, offer them a lunch, right? If there's somebody in your area that you know that's doing commercial work, don't be afraid to reach out. Yes, I know there's some people who want to gatekeep and kind of have this, this pompous feeling like, oh, I'm doing this, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Like I've lived my whole life asking, because the worst thing is to say no, and you just go to the next door and try to open it. So that's where I would start. And of course, finding channels, I don't know if my channel is going to be becoming that, but finding filmmakers like myself or any others who are in the industry to kind of ask those questions directly, which you kind of did already. But the industry is changing a lot, and so there's some old ways of doing things, and there's some brand new ways of doing things, which brings in the social media side of stuff. So agencies and client are trying to catch up with that, as new directors, fresh directors are coming out with new ideas, and social media has really changed the game and the landscape. So things are actually moving. So it's a great time to kind of learn that, but also see what new things that you see and try to build on that. Okay, was there another question?
Not a question, but someone says, is there any chance to work for you remotely? I don't mind if it's free. I'm from Kurdistan, working with agency, working for Heist.
Oh yeah, I know Heist.
And other clients, I'm videographer and editor. I really love to work and hopefully deliver. Learning from you is a dream.
Oh, appreciate that. I'm not hiring, but thanks. Appreciate that. I had a question here. Someone said, thoughts on the state of the camera industry, what technology, new methods am I using, going to incorporate into my business this year, and what are your plans for your business moving forward? So to answer the first part, I kind of touched on it earlier. I personally do think cameras have kind of plateaued, and that's not a negative thing to say. It's just hard to kind of innovate. So you could say Blackmagic's innovated with their newest Pixis 12K and the Ursa 17K. You can say that's innovation. Fujifilm with the Eterna, that's innovation. But like everything, right? When I'm in these treatment calls or pitch meetings or just vibe check meetings that we say, the camera is never talked about. The camera is the last thing when it comes to when you actually get the job. That's the last thing. And that could be any tool. It could be a phone. It could be a handy cam. It could be a Alexa 35. It could be a FX3 or Fujifilm XS2S. It can be any of those things. What matters most when it comes to getting these jobs is landing the idea. How can you shape or really take hold of what the agency or client's asking you to do, and then doing that tenfold. Now I totally understand being an owner operator, that matters too. And I can still kind of push back being an owner operator. the camera still is kind of the least of things because you're doing so many other options, doing so many different types of jobs, doing so many different type of roles on that job. If you have to handle everything that way, so I would say find a camera that fits your style, fits what you like, and run with it. There shouldn't be any camera shaming, which I still don't understand why we do that online. It makes no sense to me. Hello, kiddos.
I just want to play Paw Patrol.
Play Paw Patrol.
I'll give it some. Close the door.
I got Paw Patrol stuff.
They were watching a movie. I guess the movie's over. That's how I feel about the camera industry. And it's not to say that I don't like, what's coming out. It's cool. I see it. But a lot of times I just turn my head because I have what I have and I'm using what I have. Fujifilm cameras is what I'm using right now. So, and then in terms of new methods and technology, new methods, sure, there's like some hot bells and whistles like the robot arm or some new LiDAR stuff. Like, oh, that's kind of like, again, last on the end of things. That's the least talked about when you want to try to execute what you want in a job, or how you're going to execute that job. So it's not really something that I think about a lot. Now, if you talk to me as a business owner who has a rental company, then I can talk about all the stuff I want to get. Not a lot of stuff, but the stuff that makes sense in this area, that's a little bit different. And what are your plans for moving the business this year? I'll answer that last bit in a second. I see some stuff coming in.
Cam says spec work is becoming a lost art form.
It really is, to be honest. I can comment that because, like, for instance, the low months where our agency is not really pushing and stuff like that, it's up to the director to start thinking about, like, okay, what are some things that I want to create that we can pitch to a brand? Or, because I already have I'm not going to say what the idea is, but I have an idea already, and like my producer and I, we were like, oh yeah, this could totally work. Let's refine it. Let's get it together. Like, spec work has to be a continuous thing because that's how you sharpen your skills. That's how you just create more ideas, and you're using what you have. Now, it's creating the right spec work. To add to that, Cam, what you're saying is a lost art. I think too many people do the same thing when it comes to spec work. Like, come on, guys. We've seen 100 million workout videos. We've seen card stuff. Like, that stuff has been done. Like, make something that's engaging. Make something that's written really well. Like, we've seen that type of spec work. Make new spec work in 2026. That's what I want to see. That's what I plan to do. I don't want to do I don't plan on doing like a workout video or stuff like that. No knock on it, straight up. But like, I've seen a lot of that. Every time I see a video, my new spec work or spec reel, it's a lot of workout stuff. And just kind of push yourself to be a little bit more. Follow the brands, follow those commercials that speak to you. And like, oh, how did they do that, right? And then kind of reinvent that and then do your own twist on it. Like, do something a little bit different.
Yeah, he added on saying, find brands you relate to and want to work with. Analyze their marketing content. Shoot spec work that represents.
I should give you a mic. I should give you a mic.
Make it unique. Then spam. I'm assuming you say spam the company multiple ways till they see it. Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, I heard you say it. Sorry, that was weird. Did another mic just come on? I should do that. I won't say spam it too, because I would say ask for their marketing or ask for the head of marketing coordinator, stuff like that. Like, ask directly. Don't just spam it, because a lot of times the people who are on their platforms, if you're trying to get through social media, they're just running the channel. They don't have any real power. So ask directly for the marketing email. And sorry for brands who are like, oh no, we have 100,000 requests now, but it's like that's what I do sometimes. So used to do.
Someone says, can you elaborate on your gear downsizing you mentioned?
I mentioned gear set. Did I? I don't know if I did. I was going to say something to it though. I'm not downsizing my gear per se. I have already kind of tailored my my personal kit. I was going to show it in this video, but I couldn't figure out how to switch camera angles with Riverside, so that'll be for another for another video. But I I'm not necessarily downsizing. I'm being more specific of what I'm using. So it's a combination of downsizing, but also buying things that I've been looking at for a while. Like I have a specific lens set that I have that I'm going to rotate through, but I am buying a lot of stuff for my rental company. So it's kind of like it's a catch-22 for me. So I don't know if I said downsizing, but I misspoke if I did. Was there anything else?
Tyrus asked,
Tyrus?
which do you think would prioritize, or are they equally important? Creating treatments or perfecting your personal reels?
Reels come and go. I think you had to. Well, sorry. Those are. I feel like those are two different things. So you said perfecting. Let me see. I see it here. You said what now? Perfecting.
Creating
Creating
treatments or perfecting your personal reels.
So I think it has to happen simultaneously, like because as you're creating work and you don't have to put everything in your reels. You just want the really good stuff that you want to be hired for in that reel. So in the background, as you're making work, and he's like, oh, this would be good for a director's cut. Make a director's cut of that while you're still creating treatments. It's hard to treat. It's hard to make treatments without having a producer kind of like with you doing it. I know a lot of directors who do the treatments anyway. It's just you're really writing out the core elements of how you're going to execute this, how you're going to tell this story. A lot of times I see these advertisements saying like you need this treatment template, and it's not always that. It's what you're saying in there. You don't want to write fluff. Never write fluff. You want to be very direct and specific on how you're going to execute X, Y, and Z, and why you're the best person for that fit to do that because you have X, Y, and Z experience. And so, so writing treatments, creating treatments has to go along with as you're making reels. And then you'll start to see the gaps of where you want to be because the treatment is like, okay, I haven't done this type of job before, but as I'm writing it, maybe you go out and shoot that thing so you can say I can speak to it a little bit more and how you did that vision. So it's kind of that, that circulating.
Like a twofold.
Yeah.
And Cam's reiterating back to what you said about not spamming. He says, yeah, if it's a smaller business, then you can easily find their team, but for the large brands, figure out ways to get on their radar.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm about to get on LinkedIn this year, yo. That's another strategy right
Someone
there.
asked previously before Cam says, would you be interested in doing a photo walk, or should I say video walk in New York City in the future when it gets warm, of course?
Yeah.
I had responded saying,
Yeah, I'm sure my wife
if
is
the
right.
opportunity presents itself.
Yes, yeah, if that's the opportunity, yeah, heck yeah, my wife and I would come out to do that.
Someone says, would love to know how you've balanced out your work life from spending time with family and just doing other hobbies.
Cool. I'm not going to go back to that. I talked about that at the top of the live stream. So once this ends, you can kind of go back and watch that. Because there's other things to get to, but I appreciate you asking that question. Sorry.
Next person says, how to protect your gear if you rent to others you
Yeah.
didn't know. And actually, I don't know how rental companies processing for protect their gear.
Yeah, great question. So I use Athos as my insurance company for renting my gear, and you just go through their process. They're very straightforward there's some language I didn't know, so I had to kind of look it up and ask some questions. I asked other creators who rent before, like Julian Jerry, Robert Machado, kind of got my work around with them. Ask rental houses that are near you of how insurance works, but I use Athos to protect my gear, and so there's a set number based on what's being rented. So like I'm renting at least, I think $50,000 worth of gear, so I have all that covered and some. So and I pay every 3 months for my rental. It's about like $300 every 3 months to pay. You can pay up front or pay for a year. So that's what I use Athos, which I should see if they want to sponsor a video one day once I get more content out for film department.
What would you say is a better long-term investment, lights or lenses?
Oh, that's a great question. Both, because that's literally that. Okay, so we're talking about the film department, right? So in my area, very small market, a lot of owner operators. And so I'm not going to sit here and invest in cameras. That would be stupid of me. I would go into debt and nobody would get a camera because they already have Sonys and Canons and this, that, and the other. So that very thing is like, what do you invest in? I'm doing both. I'm investing in lights,
The kids.
investing in lights and investing in lenses. specifically lenses that it's hard to get a grasp on. That's why I'm leveraging my channel. I'm blessed to be working with VC, DZO Film, Cook a little bit later on. These companies, if they can't pay for a video, like a sponsored video, I negotiate receiving a lens for a video, and I make that clear in my disclosures when I make these videos and such. So I've been slowly building up an arsenal that way. And again, these are brands that I actually like. And so building those types of kits for myself and for when I rent them out, that's very much. But someone who doesn't have that same leverage as I do, I would say specific lights for the jobs that you want to do. Have a big powerful light, and then smaller lights. Like that's my formula, and that you can shape and then get modifiers. Lenses, if you have a lens set, go vintage if you need to, because it's cheaper, and live with that for a little while. Or spending money, spending money on some like cine lenses. DZO Vespa 2s are really great value lenses. The Vespa 2s are really great in my opinion to start with. Even the Athenas, and there's some other ones out there, but I think lighting is going to go much longer. But those are two great investments. Period. I would say, just in general, those are great investments.
Keep go to your next thing. There's another question, but go to your next.
I mean, the next thing is kind of like the goals for next year, but
Okay, then someone says, have you used AI this year in your business or workflow, and do you think it's a must-learn skill to keep up with it in the future?
I don't use AI in a sense of this push for image generating or voice or anything like that. I use AI for writing scripts and organizing and finances. I'd use it for more practical use case for the backbone of my business and what I do, especially for YouTube. You should see my ChatGPT account is literally just hundreds of just ideas, and it's basically my personal workshopper basically as I'm writing these things. My editor Josiah, he's created a specific bot that's learned my writing from previous videos. And so as I'm writing and asking different prompts, it's giving me suggestions previous on what I've already created and speaking it in that tone. So I would rather have that than it being just like this loosey-goosey AI stuff. I'm really tailoring it to how I use it and utilize it for my workflow and how I stay organized, how I think about new ideas, especially with like SEO stuff. ChatGPT has been really helpful in that sense, where I'll take a previous video that's uploaded, take the transcript, and dissect it to give more options in terms of like how to make shorter cuts. I use this other platform called Kino or Flow or something like that. It's basically where you can take a YouTube video and it'll make little short reels from it. Just kind of speed up some of the editing time on the back end. That's pretty much how I use it. I don't use it for storyboarding. I don't use it for any of the other stuff because it takes too much, in my opinion, too much filling it around to make it exactly what you want. So yeah, good question though. But yeah, AI, I'm not shy of AI. I'm just very cautious of how much I use it and when I use it and where I use it. So yeah. Oh, one question. Shout out to the homie Dominic, NFL Films filmmaker. He asked me the question. I kind of hinted this already. What gear have I purchased this past year versus what was given to me? And I purchased actually a lot of gear this year. Let me pull up my expenses. Where is? How much did I spend? Whew, buddy, I spent a lot of money this year, baby. Okay, so in terms of expenses, I will start with there. I spent about 100, and this is various things. I should actually get rid of contractor services, but roughly $120,000 worth of expenses. That's crazy. That's crazy. And granted, this is that number is kind of it's kind of inflated because I have charity here and I have contract expenses. I paid contractors $37,000 this past year, but business equipment, computer equipment, software, and then other category stuff. Yeah, it was a mixed things. Gear was coming in, coming out. paid for things that I needed, monitors, updated a few things, bought a few lenses. Like, it's been kind of just like crazy. Didn't buy a camera this year, other than this camera. I did buy this camera, my X106. But I spent a lot of stuff. So in terms of just like what was given to me in light of this, lenses, like I said, I negotiate with brands who don't have the funds to pay for my fee for a dedicated video. I negotiate having a lens exchange for the content. Winning Camera has been a long time partner for me. They've always treated me great. I buy things from them, but they give things to me when I need it for jobs. And then we work out deals for back end stuff too. So I have my small HD monitors from them. I bought my I bought my Ultra 5, but they've given me 2 other monitors. And this year, I'm trying to think, was there anything like, I have some lenses that I still haven't gotten to in terms of like reviews yet. But I'm trying to think, not a lot of stuff was given to me this year. Like, yeah, I had loaners come in and out, but nothing like I've kept that I can remember from the top of my head. But I spent a lot of money, which is kind of funny to say.
Yeah, no one was looking at you because you have it on the screen sharing.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'm talking. Whoops. You're right. Nobody was looking at me, but yeah.
Someone says your Eternal video looked incredible, man. Love the color grading. And then same person, you should create a power grade. We would definitely buy it.
I've been asked this for years about, do I have a LUT or a power grade? I don't have the time for it. Plus, I'm not a colorist. I basically color grade off of how I feel. And so there's so many options out there already to get the look that you want. Color grading to me is very experimental. And I like way more natural looking things anyway. That's why I lean towards more Fujifilm. Even though they have film simulations, they have one of the most natural looking color science out there, in my opinion, alongside with like Ari and stuff. So building a power grade, I mean, I wouldn't even know how to advertise for that. It's like, hey, I made a LUT, go buy it. That's literally what I would say. Because like, I'm not going to say it's like, I'm not going to say like, nobody has this LUT, or you can get professional. Everything has so many different variables based on the type of footage that you have. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't feel right for me to try to sell you on a LUT that I don't know the situation that you're in. Everything's situational for me when I create the stuff.
But I mean, you do have ideas for products, so.
Yes. So getting into the goals, and thank you for segueing. Next time, I need to mic you up next time. Segueing, I am developing products. I've been developing products for the last 3 years. It's been on and off. 2 years. It's been on and off just because time, I'm the only one doing it, understanding what different manufacturers can offer, what are the quotes for that stuff. The quotes for that stuff, it gets daunting really fast, but I'm very passionate about the areas that I see that I can make an impact in. So praying that this year will be another step forward. I'm always trying to move that needle. The products will be coming from the film department. And so keep a lookout for that. I need to buy a 3D printer because I had a breakthrough, and I realized that now I have found the material for certain things that I need to make. And then I'm trying to do something on a large scale. So it's definitely, there will be products, not LUTs or anything like that, but there will be products coming hopefully this year. But yeah, one day at a time. Cool. Was there anything I missed? Oh, well, let me go back to goals real quick. So yeah, that's one of the goals for next year is products. Go back to my notes. Yeah, so 2026 goals. That was like kind of the last goal, but the top of the funnel goal, again, what I said from the top of this video about our faith, again, digging in our heels again, because this year wouldn't have been possible without God, period. Because we had no idea where any of the success was going to come from. Yes, I have skills, but it's up to the Lord to open up these doors for us to step into it, to really follow his will. I'm not saying I followed his will for everything. I have a very type A personality. If I see something that I like, I go after it. So it's taught me patience. And some of the things that I did go after, now I'm kind of reaping the consequence of not what's the word? Bringing it to the Lord to say, is this where you want me to go next? But definitely this year is going to be a continuation of that. That is the goal throughout our whole life, because again, we had no idea how we're going to pay out debt, how we're going to live, what jobs were going to come. Like none of that was like such a fog, such a wall. But all we did was trust, have faith, because he's done it before in the different areas. And so it's like moving forward through this next year is just going to be just that. So we're okay. We're at peace. We don't have any stress. We know how to move when he moves. So that's the, it's a fly in there. So that's the big goal for next year, continual goal. Completing the last bit of 2025 projects that I have. That's been on my list, and I've been trying to chip at it each week before 2026 begins. But I'm going to give myself some grace and give me the month of January to finish everything I need to before I move on, though 2026 is coming up fast.
Yeah, like a day.
Yeah, like a day. Refining my personal brand, we kind of talked about this. There's so many things that are interconnected with my brand, with Sunny 16, with the film department, and Cindy Dailies, and then being a DP on top of that. So I really need to find some clarity, simplify a few things, and find a nice through line where it feels more connected or separate, whatever that looks like. So I need to get some brain power to do that. Continue to grow the film department. Like I mentioned before, there's going to be products coming, but also serving my community here in this location, more community events. I wish it would be cool if this was the bigger market, but I'm going to try to do my best to cater to the people that I have with me here. We've worked together on a lot of different things, so definitely that's a goal of mine, to continue the film department and what it can be, from locally and then also nationally with the products that we're creating. And then, yeah, I already mentioned releasing products, so yeah, whew. My throat. Also, I'm gonna put on the list, I do want to do a live stream more often. I just told my wife before getting on here, I always get butterflies because it's nothing scripted. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna say. I have notes and stuff, but it's always a little bit more difficult for me to kind of stay focused when doing this stuff. But it's a good challenge to have. So I want to do more live streams. And also, just not a lot of filmmakers who are doing live streams, other than Kofi, Cam, Armando. I don't know if Armando's doing anything like that. But there's not a lot of filmmakers who are doing live streams. If you have a filmmaker who's doing live streams, put them in the chat, because I will go see them. But I know Kofi and Cam are doing a ton of live streams. So I want to get on that train, because that's another way for me to get a piece of content out, as well as get some more one-on-one interactions online with you all.
Like you said, that'll probably be like a once a month type thing for now.
Like a once a month. I can't do any more than that. There was a question Santiago had, like a third part, and he says, what about a tutorial of your workflow? I thought about that. I don't know, my workflow is interesting enough. I can just probably talk about like the theory of how I think about things, because it's really like, that's how I operate. It's how I operate that way, so the theory of things. I don't know. I need to get enough interest in doing that, because it is maybe that'd be a live stream. I just ramble on, and that'd be a live stream about how I work through day-to-day stuff. So speaking of workout videos, have you
He said, they said, do you have a walking treadmill? And I'm like, no,
underneath here?
And then he says, do work, fam. I don't know what that meant, but okay.
Oh, Evan. Yeah, so Evan Snyder, he's a colorist. I use his LUTs. If that's what you're talking about, don't forget Evan. I don't know if he does Evan live stream? I haven't seen his live streams. But in terms of LUTs, I trust his.
I mean, but he does live stream based on color grading.
He does?
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Because he's a colorist, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying I haven't seen his live streams.
Oh.
This is a pretty, what is this? This is not like, this is lavender?
I think that used to be a...
No, like the color.
The color, yeah, it's like a lavender.
Speaking of color, so left field. But this is probably the best Hot Wheels purchase I've made in a while. Hot Wheels did a collaboration with Pantone. That's fire. Look at this Porsche. That's fire. Fair Lady, So Clean. There's some other ones here too, but I just had to try that out in terms of color since I was looking at color. Cool.
Someone says, yeah, your videos together are interesting. I don't know what you mean.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
That was in like
Evan.
that was years ago too. We do need to do another video together. It's been a
Wasn't
minute.
that just last year that you and Evan did?
We did
something?
one last year and then another one 2 years before that. That one did really well too. So, yeah, there's some updates to talk about that workflow, color workflow. I want to do a more advanced video that way because I always learn a lot from him when I do that. So. No, I mentioned Cam and Kofi. Those are the two filmmakers that live stream the most. That's all I see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know any other filmmakers outside of them too doing live streams. That's what I was saying.
Someone says, have you ever tried Colin Kelly's Fuji 3510 LUT? And he also does live streams around color grading.
Nice. I've actually never heard of his name, so I'll check it out. And I'm again, I'm a simple guy. Like when I get a LUT, I don't want to change my workflow and bounce around trying different things. I have one workflow that I work, and then I use that. If I do need to change it, I'll change it, but a lot of times it's pretty much just that. So, but I'll keep him in mind. Kelly Cullen.
Oh.
Yeah, copy that or something like that so I can do that. What's up, Christian? I didn't see you in here. He says going live on a real set would be pretty dope. Way too complicated. It had to be a set that I have. But then, like, is this going to be me just talking to the crew and stuff and not to the camera? Because that's just going to probably get distracting. I tried to do that for the Fujifilm thing, but I had to lock in and do that.
Tips on finding creative inspiration when feeling burnt out.
Oh, sure.
You got a few more minutes.
When you're burnt out, step away. Don't even try to find inspiration. Spend time with family, spend time with friends. If you
Go
are,
outside and walk.
go outside and walk, do something
Go read the
completely
Bible.
different from the thing that you're burnt out from. That's my method, because I don't want to sit here and do something editing related when I'm burnt out from it. I go do something that's going to fill me up, right? So family, so kids, all that, my wife, spend time with my wife, doing something completely different. So that's how I would handle burnout, and that's what I tried to do, but it was hard to do that this year. They will only be using walking treadmills.
Oh, I think it's talking about Kofi.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kofi. Yeah, Kofi started using walking treadmills in his live streams. That would be too distracting for me. I'll be worried about the treadmill and not trying to trip than talking to you all.
Well, never mind.
Walking what?
No, nothing, no.
What are you about to say? Trying to roast me on the live. Next time I'm gonna mic up my wife. So you guys can do that. But cool. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh, someone says.
Yes.
I said you still have a few minutes.
Okay.
Still like 2 more minutes. So
Okay.
any other questions that come through? It says, any personal projects for next year? I want to see a small movie shot with the XH2S. That camera is so underrated in my opinion.
No, nothing planned yet. Like I said, I have a lot of backlog stuff, so I can't really plan for the future because if I start doing that, everything else gets tossed to the side. But who knows? Because we're already, like the agency that I'm with, we already have 3 jobs on the table that we're pitching for. We're trying to put up. So it's like there's no time to think about personal projects right now for me. Maybe a little bit later. There is one personal project that my wife and I want to do. We want to travel out west to make something, but we don't know when that's going to happen. Yeah, that's I can't really speak to that. Right now, my only goal is to make sure that I need to complete what I said yes to in 2025 and get that done as quickly as possible.
Kofi says, nah, come through 10,000 steps a street.
Bro, Kofi, dude, bro, I can't do that. I saw you doing it on your last stream. Like, how is he concentrating and walking doing that? I'd be just like,
that's something you train yourself to do.
I know, but I don't. That's all you, bro. That's all you, bro. I can't do that.
And then he says, also, one day I want to work on a spec with you, man, when the weather gets better.
Yes, I need to take the fam up to Toronto, and so let's do
Or
something.
he just comes out here. One of the two.
No, you want to go to Toronto though, right? Yeah, you want to go
Gotta
to
get kids'
Toronto.
passports.
They could get, yeah. We'll figure out something. But yeah, I know we gotta do something together for sure, for sure.
Any other questions? Y'all got 1 minute left.
Just holding me to that 6:30 time. It's 6:30 now.
All right. No one else said anything.
Cool, y'all. Happy New Year. This won't be the last time. Obviously, you'll see me. Got some things coming up next month. But take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Do you also want to quickly mention that we are starting a financial?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Wow. Wrap up.
Just as a quick one, yeah.
My wife and I will be starting a separate YouTube channel for finances. Not to say we're financial gurus, but we've learned a ton of stuff this past year of how to manage funds just on a personal level. But also we're going to incorporating running a business. So the film department, how I go about making gear purchases, how I land deals, how to operate. Because all this is new to me, but it's been fun doing it. That's been like a nice getaway outside of this. So we are starting it. It's going to be called Seed to Scale.
Seed and scale.
Seed and scale. Obviously, it has some faith implications behind that, but yeah, that's going to be sometime early 2026. That'll be out. We want to create the videos first so you can have something to watch rather than starting a channel. It's like takes forever to put something up. So it'll be like four videos or so up for you to watch from there. So cool. I'll see one more question. Can I say it or is that a question?
Someone says, can you write the rental website? I already did, but you're only renting locally though. You're not doing national.
Yeah,
so
right.
Make that clear.
Yeah, so in terms of so I do plan to rent on a national level for specific items like lenses, but I'm still figuring out the logistics of shipping rates, stuff like that. But the rental website that I use, my wife put it in the chat, but it's Athos. That's what I use for my rental insurance. And if you go to the website, www.filmdepartment.com, you'll see the walkthrough of how that insurance works. Well, in terms of like how it works in relation to the film department to trying to rent something. So there will be updates. There will be things to be coming. But yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Take care, stay healthy. Oh no, how's the audio sound?
I don't know. I've had it on mute, so I don't know.
Oh, because it sounds like there's this. I think.
Well, I mean, no one has complained or said anything yet.
Sorry, I realized my other mic was on. It was on here on the desk, so I don't know if that was causing any weird stuff.
Someone says, does locally include Chicago?
Yes. Locally does include Chicago. Chicago, Indianapolis, Grand Rapids.
I don't know what's the closest city
Fort
to
Wayne.
Ohio.
Fort Wayne. So everything about 2-hour radius right now, that's locally.
Yeah.
So yeah, hit me up with an email.
They said audio is fine.
Okay, good. Hit me up with an email if you have questions for rental stuff. I need to update the inventory because I did finish. Well, I said we're going to say goodbye. I did finish my Mamiya 645 set. I'm waiting for my 45mm to come back from Ducos lenses. It's being serviced, and I finished my Carl Zeiss Jena set, and then now I'm working on my Olympus set and then a Nikon set. So those things will be available to rent and ship out and stuff like that. So cool. Okay, I'm saying goodbye now. See y'all. Have a happy New Year, and we'll talk later.